on this computer, and then I'll post it up tomorrow on YouTube.
Yeah, I didn't change the password. I don't know if Jay did, but I can't imagine you would.
But I'm sitting here trying to log in, and it says my password's incorrect, and for YouTube. So
let's see if I can. But go ahead and record it and start recording.
All right, yeah, we're recording. So let me pull up stuff here. A second here. We'll call to order, and as we always do, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We share my screen. So, I pledge allegiance to the United States.
Of the United States.
One nation under God.
Indivisible, with
Liberty.
and justice for all.
We miss it.
All right. You see the agenda. So we have no guests. I guess I'll do staff report. The rehabs are going on as before. Probably the biggest news I would say is there's a contract in the Purple Poulet building. It's sold to a local developer who's done some really good work up in Fort Thomas. And we've talked to the developer. They have some interesting plans, but just not sharing right now. The Purple Poulet is there through the end of August. So that's going on. Streetscape, I don't know if you heard, we got approval from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet to put the streetscape out to bid. It's out to bid, so we should have answers back by the 21st, and we'll open the bids and hopefully choose a contractor at the May Dayton City Council meeting. So that's going along well.
That's huge. How long have we been waiting on that?
Oh my God, from the start, 7+ years. I've been working on it for the last 4. Threw about 1.5 years in there because we had to do right of way. But that's been done for the better part of a year. And finally, the Transportation Cabinet last month gave us the right permission to go out to bid. Ben knows that I reach out to them, if not every week, every other week. Where are we at? Where are we at? So we're huge. It's a good time to get doing it. So we've got probably this spring, maybe into early summer, we have at least 5 new businesses slated to open along 6th Avenue. So that's going really well. So yeah, so that's going well.
Yeah, it's going to change the landscape of the area that we overview here for this board. It's going to add additional space. It's going to slow traffic. It's darn near free. So this is huge news for this group, and it's huge news for the city. So very excited and very thankful for all the work that's gone into this. It's no small hurdle, and it's no small accomplishment.
Do you think that this might be something that you could review for us at the next meeting? Because I'm not quite aware of like all the minutia of what's going into the streetscape project.
I can bring up the plans. Yeah, I can do that the next meeting. Yeah. So where the bump outs are going and what's going in. So
yeah, Bob did a good job, 6 months ago, of putting a spray outline on the avenue of where the bump outs were going. But as with all types of street spray paint. It goes away with some rain and some traffic, so you can't see it anymore, which is good. I'm glad it's not permanent.
Mhm.
But yeah, if Bob could bring that up,
I will. I'll put it in the next meeting and we'll go over it. Or
or even if you could just send
you
it
know
out.
what? We should go over the next Main Street meeting too. So maybe I'll just make sure you're all invited to that.
Or if you just even email the group with it. There's no.
I can do that. I mean, it's a huge PDF file. But
Should we post it on the website? And then post
it is
links?
on the web. It is on the website. But I'll point out where it's at, and we'll go over it. It's a good idea to go over it at the end in 2 weeks at the Main Street meeting. So I'll invite you to that. And if you can't make that, we'll do it at this meeting. But we should have a better feel of where we're at with that. I would point out just Pearl Poulet building sold in less than a week with tons of interest. So there's a lot of interest in Dayton. I will say the building was what I consider to be very aggressively priced, but it was well priced. I know there were multiple bids, and I don't know what it sold for at this point, because that's between the seller and the buyer until they sell it, and then I'll know from the PVA. But I do know there was lots and lots of interest, and that's good to see. And right now, I'm thinking the only thing for sale in the CBD is the old laundromat. And Tony's Old Saloon. Those are the two things that are for sale right now. Tony's Old Saloon has had a lot of interest. Laundromat, not quite so much. It's a little. For the amount of work that still needs to be done, the price seems a little high to me. That's just my opinion. I'm not a realtor, Kelly, and I don't try to pretend to be one. It's a willing buying, willing. If something's been sitting on this market for 6 months, it's probably a price issue. So our realtor says that. So okay, so that's kind of staff report stuff.
Can you share the 5 businesses that are slated to open? I think I know some of them, but just so I can get them in the notes.
Let me see what's been announced. Horton's Barbershop.
What's it called? Horton's?
Glow at 619. It's a beauty shop that will be offering manicures and pedicures.
What's it called? Sorry.
Glow.
Glow.
The podiatrist office on the corner of 3rd and Vine. Something new going into the old Hometown Heroes place. That hasn't been announced yet, but be a restaurant. And I just blanked on number 5.
Roebling?
What?
Roebling?
Roebling's still out there. Let's see.
Miller's Financial.
Oh, yeah, the financial place at across from Trotta's. The address of that is actually on McKinney. But yeah, so across from Trotta's. So that'll be number 5. And so those will all be opening up in the next few months.
So what did you say about the Roebling?
It's not slated to open the next couple months.
And Taqueria Nogal?
6 Taqueria Nogal. That's the one I forgot. Taqueria Nogal 526. They were talking about opening next Monday. They have a couple things to do from inspections, so it may be the week after that. But with that one's very imminent. We went and had the fire department do the inspection on it. So if that doesn't open up April 19th, I would probably say the 26th. But that is the last, punch list. They've got some punch list items to do. So Taqueria Nogal. So that's the one that was the one that slipped my mind. They've been around for a while. So a lot of good stuff going on with that. So Tracy, you kind of took the bylaws. I know they've been reviewed.
Yeah, so Kelly and I met and went through the bylaws, and I sent out a PDF of them. I was going to share my screen, and
I can share it. I've got it up.
well, I'm going to make edits as we go along, so I think I'll share.
Okay.
And
I'll
you need to give me the ball because it says I don't have permission.
Okay, hold on. Okay, you should be able to share now.
There we go. Okay, start now. There we go. Okay, so are you seeing the bylaws?
No.
No? Zoom,
Hold
what is your
on.
deal?
Okay, try now.
Okay, trying to get back to the darn meeting. It didn't display over apps. Okay. Display over other apps. Now is it working?
Advanced sharing option. Who can share? All participants. Oh, okay, all participants. Try that.
Okay. I'm still trying to share. Any luck? Go back to the Zoom meeting and try to share again. One more time. Share. Oh, crap. Sorry. One more time. WebEx is way easier. Let's see. What, share the document? Yes, okay. Nope. Crying out loud. I'm sorry. I don't care for one more time. Oop. Come on. Seriously? Okay, just Ben Baker is sharing.
Okay, so Ben can share.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to steal a screen. Oh no, I can't. Ben, you're sharing for some reason.
And Ben, you're muted.
Trying to stop sharing.
Hold on, can I stop you?
If you can stop me, that'd be great. Oh, there it is.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Yeah. Looks like capturing the displayed on your screen. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
See you back there.
now you're seeing my desktop, right?
Mhm.
Hopefully. Now are you
Yeah.
seeing? Yay.
Yay.
Okay. All right, sorry about that. So this is the stuff we started, I think, back in 2019. We have article name, we're known as the board. We have the objective that we put in last time. We didn't make any changes to that. The mission, we collaborated on that actually in 2019 as well. And then someone had proposed a vision back in 2019. So we just pasted that in there. Any questions or concerns about name, objective, mission, or vision?
No, it looks good. Thank you for all your hard work on this, by the way.
Oh, it was a joint effort. Me and Kelly and I had a good time.
Hopefully you had a glass of wine while you're doing it.
and a very friendly black cat. So it was awesome. Let's see, primary focus and secondary focus. Those were in as well back in 2019. So we left them. Where we started making changes was in the membership section, starting with board members and terms and stuff like that. Are the focus sections okay with everyone?
Yes.
All right, membership. All right, so the board will be comprised of 5 members who are nominated by any current board members, city staff, elected officials. Members shall be appointed by the mayor. Okay, I think that was there from last time. Where we started to get into stuff in 2019 was on the terms. So there was the option of, should we call it a 2-year term or a 3-year term? So back in 2019, I think we had all suggested that we thought 2 years might be appropriate. So each board member shall serve a 2-year term. Term of office, this was in there already, January 1st through December 31st. And then, so term limits, right? No member shall serve more than 2 consecutive 2-year terms at one time. So that's just so that we can keep some fresh blood in on the but we needed to give ourselves an out. So when a vacancy occurs, the mayor shall fill the vacancy within 60 days and the person appointed shall serve the remainder of the term. And then here's the out. If the mayor is unable to fill the vacancy, a previous board member can serve another consecutive term. And then, yeah, and then
Advisory thing that we were talking about.
yeah, that's what's next. Board members who serve at least 1 2-year term can join board meetings in an advisory capacity. Do you want to, Kelly, that was your idea. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the issue was that we didn't want to turn anyone away who wanted to be a part of the group. But we felt that that we did need to have term limits or at least the idea of that, so that we did get fresh blood in, but that people who had experience or still wanted to be included, kind of like Margot, or could join or attend in an advisory capacity, voluntarily.
I think that makes sense to me.
Okay. All right, removal. So how do we get rid of somebody? Attendance at board meetings is necessary and expected after 3 consecutive. Okay. Ooh, this was I think this is in like a lot of bylaws as a safeguard. After 3 consecutive unexcused absences from regularly scheduled meetings, the chairperson may ask a member to relinquish his or her term. The mayor or chairperson may cause removal of a member for inefficiency, neglect of duty, malfeasance, conflict of interest. So does that make sense to everybody? I mean, obviously, if somebody's causing issues, the mayor can ask them to step down.
The only change that I would ask is if we could say relinquish their term so that it's gender inclusive.
I like it. Come on. Your term. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Any other questions, suggestions, anything? Anybody have any concerns about this section?
No.
All right, officers. The officer section was kind of small. So Kelly and I were brainstorming a little bit, and this is, our thoughts. Happy to entertain, people may not agree. So let's have a good conversation. Okay, so we have 3 elected officers, right? This section's the same as it was before. Officers shall carry the title of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary to serve 1-year terms beginning January of each year. Any member is eligible to serve for an officer position, and then I threw this in, with the exception of the chairperson. A minimum of 6 months as a member of the board is required to serve as a chairperson, unless there are no members on the board with greater than 6 months tenure. That's a suggestion that I have, just because I've been on the PTA, oh my gosh, the whole time my kids were in school, and I've served at the state PTA level and other positions. And it's always helpful to have the person who's, the chairperson or a president or whatever, be somebody that's been there and done a few meetings at least, right? So I don't know, how do you feel about that? Does that seem excessive?
I think 6 months shows a commitment to the board. And that they're willing to, put in their time to the board of at least 6 months, given any position of responsibility, you could feasibly say that not just about the chairperson, but about any of the 3 officers.
Sure, yeah, happy to do whatever you guys think. I thought if the chairperson is supposed to run the meetings, which we need to talk about that, and be the deciding vote and just all that kind of stuff. I think back to my first like awful meeting where we had to vote, and I had not attended any meetings, didn't have a copy of the bylaws, didn't know what our procedures were or anything, right? So I just like thinking about that, definitely would not have wanted to take on a leadership role coming out of the gate. So I thought that's why I suggested the 6 months. So, okay. So here we go. Duties of the different officers, chairperson. This was in this section about chairperson shall preside as a formal chair at all meetings, unless otherwise noted in these bylaws. So that was back in the 2019 version of this when we first started looking at this. But I've noticed that Bob typically creates the agenda and runs the meetings. So if Bob is doing that, then the chairperson really doesn't have anything to do. So just throwing that out there as a thing. So
I'd be glad not to do this. Right? Please,
yeah.
right. The agendas are generally,
yeah, they can coordinate with you.
Yeah.
Right. They can coordinate with you. Whoever the chairperson is can coordinate with you in advance. Are there any COAs? And then decide and send out the agenda ahead of time. Let's see. Got in the absence of the chairperson. This was in there last time. The vice chairperson can assume the duties. In the event that both persons are absent, a quorum of board members, this was in there last time too, may vote and a temporary chairperson to preside the meeting. Okay, so this is the, what Kelly and I were adding. Chairperson would be responsible for providing the meeting agenda to the board members at least 3 days prior to a meeting. I feel like, that would give us, if our meeting's on a Tuesday, then hopefully, by close of business on Friday, that person's had a conversation with Bob. Hey, do we have a COA? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, is there anything that we need to meet on? And then the chairperson can, get the agenda out at least over the weekend or something like that. So, I don't, Emily, you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that that's fine. There's another instance of his, her, so just in that, so just do another look through for gender inclusion on this. I think that this is fine. When Bob sends out the agenda, I always put it into a Google Doc for me to take minutes in. So having it earlier is great for me because I was doing that right before the meeting. So yeah, this looks fine to me.
I think it would help me out. And of course, this is not all about me, but I am not familiar with addresses. They just don't stick in my brain. So I need to physically drive by things or walk by things and just kind of look at it and check it out. It would give me a minute to, just review what it is and where it is we're talking about to make sure that I'm a little bit more prepared.
Okay. Bob, any concerns with the chairperson running the meeting and?
No, I'd be glad to.
Okay. All righty.
It's kind of Zoom has made it really weird since I let people in and stuff like that. So I would be glad to hopefully everybody gets vaccinated and we can get back to normal. The only thing that I may add, sometimes, and it has happened, a COA comes in on Monday, right before our meeting. And I try, if possible, to squeeze them in. We can add them in and bring it up. And I got a late COA. Just with no better thought than I'd rather us discuss it, with short notice than to try to do it over email or call a special meeting. Most of it's pretty basic stuff. Somebody wants to paint their house, and is it, here's the color and that type of stuff. But I would definitely, and when somebody's doing something, I tell them when something a bit more intense, I tell them when the meeting is and when I want the plans in. So you'd get a heads up ahead of time. But there are times when there's a couple times where COA has come in at the last minute, and I try, and just to be helpful so they can get moving, try to get it moving quickly. One, it saves you all having to, I like us to at least discuss it and say, okay, it's a nice color. So, all right.
Sure.
So that's the only, and we'll deal with that as it comes up. Hey, I've got a late edition. Here's the COA. If anybody has an objection, wants to wait until our next meeting, that would be fine. If there's no objection, let's move forward. I wouldn't do anything big, like somebody wants to tear down a house. I wouldn't allow anybody to sneak that one at the last possible minute. But we're talking somebody wants to change a front door, somebody wants to paint their house, kind of stuff. So, all right.
Okay, no, that seems fair. I mean, we can be flexible, but maybe we can try to coordinate with you by whoever the chairperson is can try to coordinate by close of business on Friday. And then, if there is nothing, text you on Monday and say, hey, you got anything else? Anything pop up kind of thing? Just
and I'll warn you when anything pops up, because I try to, and I was already expecting that somebody would probably reach out to me on Monday, because we are getting into the season. But there's a lot of construction going on. But a lot of the construction that's going on that I know of is happening inside of buildings. So,
okay.
And the only thing that I know of that might affect you, and I talked to them, it's an example. I'm sorry, I'm rambling ahead. Glow at 619, they're going to take the plywood off to expose the transoms. Removing plywood is, I'm not making anybody do a COA to remove covered up transoms.
Sure.
Now, what you do when the transoms are uncovered is another issue, but we have to see what's there first. So.
Alrighty. So the vice chair section. So if everybody's good with chairperson, we'll move on to vice chair. Nothing was there for the vice chair other than to, chair the meeting if the chairperson's not there. And one of the things that we have talked about, I guess, informally, at previous meetings was, who's on the board, what's their dates of terms, and what's their dates of terms, right? I remember asking at the last meeting, because when Bob dropped off, I'm like, I think I was sworn in about the same time he did. Does that mean that my 2-year term is up? And when did it start? You know what I mean? So I have a thought or a suggestion that maybe the vice chair could, kind of keep we'll put a log out in the Google Drive, right? A Google sheet with, folks, the board members' names, what's their dates of term. We can kind of keep track of, okay, well, you've done your 2-year term. So, there's a spot coming up, or there will be a spot coming up, just try to keep a little more formal about that. So Ben, I don't think you were on the last meeting, but, so my husband, Steve, you sent a really nice letter, telling him that you wanted to renew his term for the ethics committee, right? And I'm like, hey, Bob, where's our letters? Is my term up? What's going on? So, just having that, I'm not saying formal, but a little more formal, or a list, you know what I mean? I think that could be good for us. As well as I think the vice chairperson maybe could be the one that's responsible for getting a copy of these bylaws to any new board member.
Shouldn't we also post the bylaws on the Google Drive?
We should. Yep, we absolutely should. Once I'll make sure that I'll make sure you guys get the Word and the PDF.
They are now. There's a whole folder for bylaws on the Google Drive. So Tracy, once you're finished with them and we vote on them, if you just want to plunk them in that folder on the Google Drive, you should be able to do that.
Okay. I'm having trouble getting in there, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I may need some tech support. I may just come over to your house and stand outside to make sure I get in there quickly. Oh.
Donna Ledger, the clerk, has a list of all the board members and the dates. I will make sure we get that. I'll get you a copy of that. And we'll put that on the Google Drive also, so everybody has access to it.
Okay.
So
So do we want to amend this or what do you want to say?
that's all fine. You know, we'll just keep it on the Google Drive, and it's a vice chair's at least look at it once a year and say, hey, is this up to date? And you know, that's one of their responsibilities. That's fine. And so we can put down when we swear people in and stuff like that. We keep it at the city also.
Okay.
So that's how we know Steve was his term was expiring.
Okay. Secretary, this was what was out there at the in 2019. Secretary shall be responsible for keeping official minutes. Copies will be distributed to all members. I mean, I personally think the fact that you send us a link to them is just fine, but any thoughts or concerns?
No.
Not for me. Just don't give me any more to do.
Okay. There's a sentence, our next section's about voting, and there's a sentence in there in red because I wanted to make sure we wordsmith this or have a discussion about it. Officers maintain all privileges of non-officer board positions. All board members are present at a meeting shall vote. However, it is customary for the chairperson to vote last. All right. And the reason I wanted to make sure we said that is because there was some, you know, at the one big meeting for the church when we were demolishing the house, that, you know, there afterwards there were some conversations about whether or not Tom was supposed to vote or not, and you know, blah blah blah. So what if we only have 4 people at a meeting and we have a tie vote? How do we address that? That's what do we need to address that, or what do you think? What should we do about tie voting?
Generally, you need a majority to change something. So the status quo stays the same if it's a tie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if you had a tie,
If we were at that meeting and Tom was going to vote, because he did not vote, it would have been a tie, right? Because he and Kelly voted not to demolish. Bob and I voted to demolish. What should happen in that kind of situation? What's the, and do we need to address that in our bylaws, or is that handled somewhere else? I don't know.
Is that over the rules? I don't know. Let's not have a tie. Bring it up at the next meeting when we don't have, I don't know.
So that's what we suggested, is that if we have a tie, that we bring it up to the next, hold it over, the decision over to the next meeting and present at that time and revote. I don't know if that's good or not good, or
It's probably the best. It's kind of a do-over, you know? It's up to you how you handle the tie. But probably the best is, you would assume it'd be a case where somebody was absent. We just have to bring it over to the next meeting. So everything would stay everything would have to stay as it is now. You wouldn't have a change until there was another meeting allowing for a change.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's I mean, generally that's how it works, is if you need a majority to change something, so everything would stay the same until you had a meeting where there was a vote and there was a majority vote to change or to deny.
Okay. So in the situation with like that big vote, if this was in effect, then either we would know going in that we had 4 people, and that might not have been a good idea. And so, I mean, we could go ahead and have the meeting and have the vote, but we would need to make sure everybody knew up front that if it was a tie, that we would have to wait until we had
The next meeting.
the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Let's not do that again. I would really love to avoid that situation on multiple levels ever again.
Mhm. Well, I think we all know, well, yeah, we'll be
Yeah,
better
let's move
prepared
on.
next time. Yep. All right, officer election. Board will make officer nominations and elections at, well, this is what was out there in 2019, at the first board meeting of the calendar year. Okay. And then you can be reelected upon said expiration of said term. Any questions or concerns there?
No,
All right, in the event of a vacancy in the vice chair or secretary, the chairperson can select an interim. This is what was out there in 2019. And then in the event that the chairperson resigns, the vice chair can fill the remainder of the term.
Mhm.
And then, okay. So here's removal of officers. All officers shall be subject to removal with cause by majority vote of the entire board. All right, amendments. 30 days notice and a majority vote at a regular board meeting. There's a dissolution section in this thing about that we would be able to dissolve ourselves. I think we should take that off, right? The
Yeah, if you want,
city-
if you were that angry, bec- well, let's come back. Let's come to the point there. If you were all that angry, if you dissolve by ordinance, the mayor could form a new board of architectural review. So that doesn't mean anything. So you could dissolve and a new board could be appointed. So if you all got that angry, and then hopefully I wouldn't long after I retire. Yeah, I don't know.
I think we
If
should
there was ever a need, yeah, I agree with you, Tracy. Let's not even look into that,
All right. Adoption of the bylaws, majority vote. And then the last thing was something about the Robert's Rules of Order. Okay.
So the only thing that I would have to say, we would have to vote. So you took that one out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Renumber 6 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, Mandy came on board. Okay, good. I see Mandy now. All right. So it's up to you guys now to, these are your bylaws. I sit back.
I'm just doing a quick scan, Emily, to see if there were any more. That was a good call out.
Emily and Mandy did, since Tracy and I did these, we're pretty familiar with them. Do you guys have any questions or concerns, or do you have anything that you'd like to change?
I think I'm really good with the way they look right now. I don't have any changes or any other edits.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm so new to this that I just trust you guys to do whatever's best.
Okay. And we have one of the thingies in here says we have the ability to change it at any time. We just. Okay.
So do we need to do a motion to do anything to approve?
Just
Yeah.
need to, to vote on that. Yeah.
So motion to approve.
I'll
Aye.
second. Yay.
So motion was made by
Kelly.
Kelly.
Is there a second to approve?
I can second.
So after the second is made, comments are opened up to the floor again. So if anyone makes comments, they can do so.
I have no comments.
If the comments are closed, then you guys can have a vote on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, I have it.
There you go.
Awesome.
This brings up a good point. We need to get a new chair.
We do.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that comes with going to a lot of meetings, and the 6 months is important because you learn how to run a meeting, and you learn how to do the ayes and the nays and the abstentions and all that good stuff. And the president should be doing that and leading that charge. So it's easy. I'm happy to teach anybody. Yeah, so if you guys are looking for a new chair, now is the time to let you know, let us know that you want to be a chair. Not all at once.
I'd be glad not to run the meeting. Mandy's ineligible because of bylaws. She has to be here for 6 months, and this is month 1, so we can't force it on Mandy for 5 more months. So
Emily lives next door to me, so I'm afraid.
Well, somebody else would have to be the secretary.
and she has the Google Drive thing down pat. We couldn't give that up.
All right, Kelly. All right, Tracy.
I'm already the vice, but would I have to just switch? And-
I think Kelly's been on longer than anybody.
Oh, look at you.
I'll help you.
Tracy did a great job with the bylaw presentation.
You did. How about this? Can Tracy and I discuss it this week and we decide next meeting? Would that be all right?
I couldn't hear you, Kelly. What was that?
Can Tracy and I talk about it until our next meeting and discuss? what we
Sure.
want to do?
So the
Sounds
only
good.
other thing that I had on the agenda,
Thanks to both of you for considering. That's awesome.
yes, thoughts and prayers. So May's coming up. It's Preservation Month. We've talked about it for a couple years now. We keep on dodging it. Let's nominate some stuff for some preservation awards. At least one commercial and one residential.
So I've created a Google spreadsheet.
Okay.
I've put the link in the minutes.
Mhm.
I have given the different categories that we talked about last month, which was the best commercial rehab, best residential rehab, and best stewardship. And that could be either residential or commercial.
Mhm.
So people just need to put some names and addresses, and whoever nominated or whoever's nominating them in the Google Drive, so that we can make those awards, or at least have some to discuss, because I put the spreadsheet out there last month and nothing got put in it. So
Can I throw one out there?
Yeah, I have a couple residential too.
yeah, if y'all could just help me out by putting the name and everything in the spreadsheet as well,
Okay.
so I don't have to try to type it up, because Bob, you'll say that one place on this corner and I don't know exactly what you're talking
All right.
about.
I'll do.
But-
I would like to suggest somebody nominate 619 6th Avenue, Unataza. I know it's been a couple years, but if you might remember, that had a totally bricked in front facade, and they put a whole new storefront in there and really changed that entire building. So
That was
I'll put-
that was one that I was going to suggest.
yeah, I have that one. I mean, that's one of the most impressive ones that we've had done in the past couple of years. There's some coming online now with the doctor's office and Jay Millard's building, but they're not done yet. So maybe that's for next year. But 619 6th Ave, Unataza, we've all been there, I think, is one I think that we should nominate. So residential, that's up to you guys.
Are we gonna do, are y'all gonna do some type of flag or yard marker? I know in Covington, they have these little beautification flags that people hang on the side of their building. What's the award look like?
Well, that could be decided. Generally in Northern Kentucky, there's a kind of a group that handles awards out in May. So we could put ourselves in there. We could do, I could easily get a plaque or something. It's up to you guys, but if you want me to get a plaque, we can get a plaque so someone can hang it proudly in their home. And if we wanted to get yard signs, I'd be glad. That's a good idea, Ben, to get a yard sign or something. Board of Architectural Review, best commercial rehab, best residential rehab. So
The only concern I have with the yard sign is yard signs are getting stolen around town. And that would really stink if somebody's yard sign got stolen.
well, they'd have the plaque. I mean, I think definitely need to do a plaque. Yeah.
This is what Covington does.
What is that? Is that,
Who is it?
no, what is it? Is it like an act, when you said flag, FLAG, you mean like a actual flag?
Yeah, it's like a banner.
Ah, okay.
There's probably a couple other instances. And those aren't necessarily expensive. Trying to see if I can find one hanging on someone's house. They hang them on their houses. And it's kind of a look at me, and you know what? Good. Look at them. Oh my gosh, here's my house. I grew up in that house. Wow. I hope they took better care of the yard than they did in that picture because, oh wait, this is being recorded. That looks great. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of what they do with those is they give them to them, and how they display them, I'm not sure. But some of them hang them off the side of the building.
I like that banner flag. I think that looks cool.
Yeah, me too.
And I made flags like that over at the Makerspace at Cincinnati Public Library for $5 for a flag that size on vinyl. It wasn't two-sided, it was one-sided, but it's just an idea.
I like it.
I agree. I think something that they can put outside, whether it's a yard sign or a flag, is really important. It's like a brag piece, you know?
Yeah, they should break.
Yeah.
Do we have someone at the city that could design it?
Maybe on the board.
I don't care to.
You don't care to, or you?
I
you'd be
mean,
glad
I
to?
would love to.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you
Ooh,
for picking
yay.
up on that.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Yeah, just honestly, guys, if you just send me a copy, I just have no idea what it would say or anything, but I'm happy to do it. It's totally fine.
Yeah, maybe the city logo. I don't know. The city logo sometimes I think is kind of overused.
What logo?
Or if we had a
So
logo.
I'll come up with some copy. Dayton Board of Architectural Review, and then best residential rehab, best commercial rehab,
And then the date.
and then the year. Okay,
Don't we have a new city logo?
We do.
we do. I can send that too.
Okay, cool.
Or could you use the image of the new mural on it?
What, I don't know what that looks like.
Walk outside. Look.
619.
The big
Oh, that one. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that is cool. Do you guys have a vector version of it?
That I do not. You probably have to get with the artist because they did all that work and they
Okay.
actually wanted some money for us to be able to use it in anything else. So we thought about using it for T-shirts,
Yeah.
and they said, "Well, this kind of is our work,"
Oh, well then.
which I respect.
Well, you know, it's if you can, you could use the city logo. If you could, yeah. What
I
I'll
mean,
get
the city
logo.
The
It's what we
city
have.
logo is so new. I think we should
Yeah.
use it.
It's nice and
I don't even
crisp.
know what it looks like.
Here, please hold. Let's see here.
Hey, Emily,
Yes,
can I just put in some people for best residential?
sure.
Yes.
But I also wanted to ask you, like, I don't really know how it works. So one of the people I was going to put in are the owner of Flohemian Floral. Have you heard of her? Okay. But I don't know that they renovated that house. I don't think they did. I think they bought it renovated.
I believe it's a flip.
Huh?
I believe it to be a flip.
Yeah, but it's still really awesome. So I don't know if that counts or, I mean, their decor is awesome. So I don't know like what counts basically is what I'm saying.
I think
You
using
guys
that
do.
logo
I
is
mean,
fine.
if you think it was a great, rehab, then it was a great rehab, and whoever lives there now gets the award for it.
Okay.
Yeah, because the developer who sold it to him, they were out within a month. You know,
Okay.
good for them, but good for the person who bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, that was a great rehab, and that's a great house, and they're pretty cool neighbors
What-
too.
Which house
Yeah.
is it?
I forgot their address, but I can look it up. The
Okay.
other people I was thinking about is I forgot her husband's name, but they're on my street, 6th Avenue, and it's Laura. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, but she's going to be the newest. We've asked her to be the newest member of this committee of this. So that means that if none of us are applicable to win
Yeah.
or to be given
That
the
sucks.
award.
They
So we
they
can let
done
all
so
of
much
our
work
houses
in
go to
there.
pot since we can't win this award. No,
Better not, neighbor.
you're the one doing construction in the backyard this week.
Hey, if you want to nominate a board member who did a good job, just have that board member abstain on the vote. You know, but whatever. This is your award.
I just think it looks weird to.
Yeah, kind of be weird to give Ben one. You know, not that you don't deserve it, Ben, but
I already had. Well, I had the yard of the month probably about 8 or 9 years ago. It's what catalysted me to actually to join council. I'm kidding. So, Mandy, I'm sending you the logo right now, so you should have it in your inbox.
You say something to me? I got a little munchkin here.
That's cool. She's way more important. How much? I just sent you the logo. You should have it in your inbox.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. AI and EPS, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm trying to get Serena's address right now.
So do you want to put him in there, and we'll vote on him via email in a few days?
So why don't we say nominations due by a week from today?
Okay. And then we can do that. We can do this via email. I mean, I don't think we need a video of, the awards, and go from there. And we'll get them done and get them out. And maybe if we get them done in time, hopefully we could present it at the next council meeting is going to be in person, right, Ben?
Yes, sir.
We could do it at the next council meeting in person. For those, for those comfortable doing in person. And make the announcement there.
Perfect.
All right. Well, anything else? That's all I had on the agenda.
The only new business I have is that you're going to be reaching out to Laura Thomason.
Yep. All right. Now that I got her contact, I'll reach out to Laura. Thank you.
I just sent everybody the meeting minutes and the sign-on information to get into the Google Drive. So I'm hoping everybody can get into the Google Drive with the sign-on information, with the username and the password. So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't share that around, but you now have it. It's
Mhm.
also in the meeting minutes.
Oh, I have another question real quick. Also, our neighbor has been doing a lot of renovations, but they're not done and it's not on the outside yet. But I know it will be soon. But does that count, or like, what do you think?
You talking the Dutch Colonial? That's,
You probably know what it's called better than me. Mike and Sue that live literally right beside us on the other side of the street.
Yeah. That'd be the Dutch Colonial.
Okay.
yeah, the one that just put the new roof on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what it looks like on the outside when it's finished.
Yeah, I know they're painting it dark blue, but the inside I think is almost done. That's what I was wondering. Is it mostly voting for exterior that we're talking about? Okay. I see you, Tracy. All right, cool. Just curious.
If somebody ever did a great interior and you knew about it, you guys wanted to make an interior award, just do it.
Well, that's what I think Laura's is mainly right now, is interior.
Okay.
They haven't done a ton on the outside either.
So like I said, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get depending on what Mandy Lehman designs, we'll get a little plaque and a yard sign banner kind of thing done. And, you know, let's celebrate and let's
When do I
make
need to
people
have
house
that done
proud.
by?
Next week.
Next week?
I don't know, Mandy. There's no tight firm date, but I know you're a busy person.
The May City Council meeting, what's the date of the May City Council meeting?
First Tuesday in May, so Saturday is the first Derby Day holiday.
So May 4th.
Yes, it is May 4th. May it be with you.
And you're wanting to have
Mandy, could you do it in 2 weeks?
Can I do it in 2 weeks?
Yeah, 27th.
Yes.
Okay. That gives me a week to get something made.
Okay.
And I might be
You remember
running down to the,
Public Library over in Cincinnati?
yeah, you know, I might be doing that Tuesday afternoon before the meeting, picking stuff up. That's not the first time that's ever happened, but that gives me a week to get stuff made up.
You can also go to Fast Signs, which is downtown.
Yeah, or we could, like Fast Signs, or we tend to use Hedgehog. They can turn it around pretty quick, but if we did 2 weeks from today, had a design, and went from there, that'd be great. All right, we're good.
And what I've done in the minutes is highlight anything that are action items that need to be done.
We have action items in me to reach out to the new member and nominate her to the mayor. And we don't anybody tell her about the dueling, okay? Because that's always got to be a surprise. Don't, yeah. I hate when somebody goes and lets them know about the dueling thing, and then they know it's coming and we don't get that surprise look on the face.
I did feel like you guys were all watching me like expectantly during that part, and I was like, what's going on?
So, would Kelly or Tracy like to do a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, this is Kelly.
Okay, so Kelly raised her hand first, so that puts her in the lead to be chair.
I'll second. Let's go. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for reviewing the bylaws with me.
Hey, and thanks so much for improving them. I just want to say, I was talking to Jay about this. I'm really glad that we got this going again and you guys went and did it. They're your bylaws. It's what you want to run this board by. You know, and you know, this is your organization, so they're your bylaws, and you know, now you got to live with them. So, but no, they're good. They're really good bylaws, nice and flexible. So, all right. Well, if nothing else, goodbye.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.